If you're an offshore tradie, you may have been told the only way you can get to Australia is through sponsorship. That's incorrect. So if you're a bricklayer from the UK, an electrician from Ireland, a carpenter from Fiji, you may be eligible to potentially apply for a permanent visa from overseas. So the very first thing you need to do is do a skill assessment. A skill assessment is basically where an organisation, Trades Recognition Australia, they're going to look at your education and your work experience to ensure that it meets the Australian standards. If your work experience does not meet the Australian standards or you can't pass the skill assessment, then we can't go through this pathway. You might need to get sponsored, you might need to study. Just looking at the skill assessments, there's two types of skill assessments, both through Trades Recognition Australia. The first is OSAP, and this is most common for applicants who do not hold a relevant qualification from an Australian provider or who have an occupation that's on a specific list of countries. We'll put the link below, but you can probably see on the screen right here. The other skill assessment is an easier skill assessment, the migration skill assessment. However, this is available to only limited countries, and essentially you need to have a qualification which is pretty much exactly like the Australian qualification and meets the Australian standards. So most countries do not have this. Essentially with the skill assessments, what you need to do is provide evidence of your qualification, evidence of your work experience, so employer references, and paid evidence. If you can't get this, it doesn't work. So if you can't provide invoices, tax assessments, bank statements, employer references, a relevant qualification, maybe this isn't quite for you. So let's say you've got all these relevant documents you provided to the skill assessment. What's the next step? So let's look at general skilled migration. So in Australia, there's two ways you can get permanent residency or skilled visas to Australia. One's through employer sponsorship and the other's through general skilled migration. So general skilled migration is where instead of being sponsored by a company, you are invited by either federal immigration or one of the states or territories. Okay, so Queensland, New South Wales, etc. Essentially for these general skilled migration visas, you can't just apply for the visa like you would a working visa. You need to basically submit what's called an expression of interest. So you need a skill assessment in these occupations, and then you need to go, hey immigration, this is me, this is my age, my education, my work experience, my English ability. I want to be invited. Will you invite me for the visa? And only once you get that invitation can you be invited. So let's say you've got your skill assessment, you've lodged the expression of interest, and you're fortunate enough to get the invitation, you can then apply for the visa. And once these visas are approved, you can enter Australia, and potentially for the 189, 190, you're a permanent resident straight away. But on any of these visas, you can actually live and work in any occupation in Australia, which is crazy. So they give you these visas and say, great, you're a carpenter, you can come out here, but technically, you don't even need to work as a carpenter. It's insane. If you have any questions about this, because it is quite a technical process and there is a lot to it, feel free to contact Pathway to Oz. We'll get you booked in for a consultation and we'll look at your specific situation and we'll get the strategy that's right for you.